Tesla stock is getting absolutely destroyed today, down over 5%. The reason why might surprise you, because there's actually 4 different reasons why Tesla stock is falling today. And this is no small move, even for Tesla. That's why I'm surprised, because you really shouldn't be falling this much on this news, in my opinion. We're going to get into it here in this video, as well as go over some good news for Tesla as well, and what in the world is going on in the broader markets today. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with Tesla as well as the broader markets twice a day at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. And first, before we get into it, hit that like button because it's free 99. And it helps spread this information to as many people as possible that obviously need to hear it, judging by Tesla's 5% down move. This is not the most important reason why Tesla is selling off, but this is the first thing that happened today that caused Tesla stock to fall. This was event number 1. Quote, as Tesla executive bemoans EV adoption pause in the first half of 2023, fund manager says reacceleration coming in 2024 due to these 3 factors. More specifically, Tesla's VP of Investor Relations, Martin Visha, said in a recent post on X, formerly Twitter, that global EV sales saw its first sequential decline in a long time in the first half of 2023. Quote, let's see what happens in the second half of this year, he added. Reposting to Tesla's VP, head of investor relations. I didn't even know Tesla had a IR team, but I guess they do. Reposting his comments, Gary Black said after the 2023 EV adoption pause, he expects EV adoption to reaccelerate in 2024 due to 3 factors. The fund manager said the $7,500 US EV tax credit allowed under the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 will go to off invoice on January 1st, 2024, and the $7,500 reduction will be reflected in lower monthly payments. And then obviously the Cybertruck is going to be a big driver in 2024. The second reason why Tesla's stock is falling today, let's be honest, and let's not beat around the bush. It's solar stocks having a really bad day. First Solar's down almost 6%. Enphase down almost 6%. SolarEdge down 4%. Tesla down 5% is kind of in line with this, and I would point out solar is now, solar is technically Tesla's highest margin business. You're seeing overall weakness in solar. That's not going to be great for Tesla as well. The third thing that is affecting Tesla today, and when this news came out, you really seen Tesla fall. Tesla was down like 1% based on some of this other news that we talked about, the last 2 things. This one really caused Tesla to fall. And this article says Tesla versus BYD 2023. Tesla is breaking lower as arch rivals earnings and margins boom. BYD reported earnings, and it was much better than expected. BYD announced strong third quarter earnings and sales growth versus Q2 and a year earlier. Gross margins surged, now far above Tesla's. Tesla deliveries in Q3 were 435,059. BYD had deliveries of 431,603, so slightly lower than Tesla's. But if you look at this chart of Tesla versus BYD, but BYD is in blue, you can see the sales, the actual amount of money BYD is bringing in is substantially higher than Tesla and continuing on this upward trajectory. BYD has also unveiled several new models. The small Seagull starts at $10,700. So it looks like a lot more competition could be coming from BYD. But it's really just the earnings story with BYD that is sending Tesla lower. This says net income came in at $1.41 billion, up 82% versus a year earlier and nearly 53% versus Q2 in local currency terms. Revenue swelled 38.5% versus a year earlier, up 38.5% versus Q3 2023. BYD's gross margin was 22.1%, the highest since Q3 2020. That's up from 18.72% in Q2 and 18.96% in Q3 2022. Do I think this is a big deal? Do I care at all? Well, I could probably speak about 10 minutes on this, but absolutely not. BYD and Tesla look like they're both going to be successful in China. Where you may need to worry a little bit is if Chinese car companies are able to come into the US. There is bans on this right now. We don't know if they will be lifted at some point in the future, but until you see BYD and other automakers, but specifically BYD, since that's the one Tesla mainly competes in China with, going global, coming to the US, coming to South America, coming to Europe on a large scale, I think there is literally nothing to worry about as far as competition, and this is just a big buying opportunity. Now, the fourth thing that is affecting Tesla stock today is the strike. It looks like it's coming to an end. GM reaches a tentative deal with the UAW, ending strikes at Detroit automakers after 6 weeks. I think this sell-off in Tesla on this specific news, which I do think this is the biggest thing that is affecting Tesla stock today, it's one more so of algorithms than anything else. I think the damage has been done. I think any investor in Tesla or in the auto space in general understands that these guys just won't be able to compete with Tesla, especially on your lower end models. Once you start talking about a $20,000, $25,000 vehicle, dubbed the Model 2 for Tesla, really nobody is going to be able to compete with that and be profitable at the size and scale of Tesla. So it's really niching down these other three automakers, and I think the programs by and large that trade our markets, remember, algorithms trade 80 to 90% of the volume you see on any given day. Most of it is not people buying, trading, or holding stocks. Most of it's algorithms. It was probably programmed to sell Tesla stock when the strike ended. That's pretty logical to me. The damage has already been done. Tesla's already benefited from this. The raises and benefits cumulatively boost the top wage to more than $40 an hour, including an increase of 68% for starting wages to over $28 an hour, the union said of the Ford and the Stellantis deal. Ford said Thursday that the union strike has cost it $1.3 billion, and the deal, if ratified by members, would increase labor cost by roughly $850 to $900 per vehicle produced. Deutsche Bank recently estimated the overall cost increase of the agreement at Ford to be $6.2 billion over the term of the agreement, $7.2 billion at GM, and $6.4 billion at Stellantis. So let me tell you, the damage has already been done. Again, for the third time in this video, this has been to Tesla's benefit, but the algorithms sold Tesla stock upon this news. Let's now get into all of your Tesla stock news that you need to know on the day. Tesla Chan is reporting that Tesla has now increased the price of solid black paint options in the US next week. $1,500 now, but up $500 next week to $2,000 is to be expected. Tesla is offering legacy Model S and X owners the opportunity to upgrade the battery pack in Australia. They are saying that you can upgrade to a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack for $45,000. The first Tesla center opened in Luhang, injecting a new style of cyber into the 1,000-year-old divine capital. The store covers an area of 2,018 miles squared, which will provide services such as test drive, replacement evaluation, financial, pre-qualification, delivery, and after-sales service. So basically your Tesla one-stop shop. Tesla China's Model 3 rear-wheel drive estimated delivery date has changed. We're now expecting 6 to 9 weeks. Previously, it was 2 to 6 weeks. And to note, the rear-wheel drive is the best-selling trim. These things are typically good news. It probably shows there is a lot of demand for the rear-wheel drive, so the wait time is longer. Economy Minister Ivan Rivas declares Tesla has federal and regional approval. They gave everything they needed to start construction, so I'm sure Tesla will come to Nuevo Leon. Again, we heard from the earnings call with Elon and Tesla that they're in no rush to start development of Giga Mexico. This puts some of your lower end models, your Model 2, some of your cheaper vehicles, a little bit further down the line. We don't have exact clarity on when construction is going to start, let alone when this factory will be operational. I guess maybe another reason why Tesla's stock is down so much today on top of everything else, this article says Tesla workers refuse to support union strike in Sweden. Earlier, IF Metal, a Swedish trade union, announced that Tesla would face a strike initiated by its members last Friday. The union was extremely unhappy that Tesla refused to sign a collective agreement. This was cited as the reason for actions that could potentially disrupt or seriously hamper Tesla's operations in Sweden. It doesn't look like this is going anywhere, with a lot of the members refusing to support a union strike. Panasonic cut domestic output of automotive batteries by 60%. That's helped stabilize battery inventory levels, but those factories won't run at full capacity, quote, anytime soon. That doesn't sound good for demand in the future. Usually when a company is cutting back production, that doesn't sound good. And Tesla is apparently not the only one that is cutting prices. Honda has cut the Ion Q6 prices for the 2024 model year by up to $4,100. Ford has increased the estimated amount of Tesla superchargers to the Blue Oval Charge network next year from 12,000 previously announced to more than 15,000 now. The pricing is yet to be announced. We're not exactly sure if it's going to be another subscription model plus a base amount to charge, if it's going to be only on the amount of energy that is used to be charged. There's still details we don't know, and if Dan Ives is correct, just to make this point, the sum of the parts valuation for Tesla, this could be important for the charging part of Tesla's business, thus potentially make the valuation look even cheaper. And Volkswagen continues to fall on hard times. They say they may cut 2,000 jobs at their software subsidy company. If you're cutting jobs in software, literally innovation for the future, that's probably not a good sign. The UAW says the stand-up strike will go down in history as an inflection point for our union and for our movement. The UAW also says, quote, when we return to the bargaining table in 2028, it won't just be with the big three, but with the big five or big six. And as Stephen Mark Ryan says, there will be no big three, just the big one. Obviously referring to Tesla, because Tesla now has a lot less competition. Let's now get into all of the charts you need to know on the day, what is going on in the markets today, as well as the option activity. Tesla option activity here today. Well, you have seen 364 orders totaling $96.02 million with a positive order value of 36%. Believe it or not, this is not terrible considering Tesla stock is down about 5%. These are not the final numbers. By tonight's update, we'll have some final numbers, and I'm sure the number is going to look a lot bigger than $96 million, but 36% is not all too terrible, again, considering Tesla is down about 5%. Tesla's Google Trend data looks like the Model 3 is starting to trend downwards as far as search trend activity. Your Model Y is actually starting to increase. So is your Model S. So we'll see if this creates a new trend with the Model Y becoming even more popular than the Model 3. Lately, it's all been about the Model 3 because of Highland. And if we look at Tesla's ad activity with Google, you now have about 300 ads. Recently, this was sitting at around 200. A lot of these ads are for the US. The other portion are in Australia, and a smaller percentage are really based around energy in Australia. Again, where I want to see Tesla advertised is the demographic in which doesn't know much about Tesla. I think that's a lot of the people that watch cable television. I think personally TV ads make a lot of sense for Tesla. Everyone I know basically watches cable TV and they know nothing about Teslas. Now here on the day today, stocks are doing okay, pretty well. It really is a tale of two stories here. Some stocks are doing really well. Some stocks are not doing well at all. Your Dow is up 1.5%, mostly carried by McDonald's and their 14% revenue increase that they reported this morning. McDonald's is 5% of the market weighting in the Dow, so that makes sense why the Dow is outperforming. The S&P 500 is up 1.22%. The Nasdaq is up 1.18%. The Russell 2000 is really the lagger behind, only up 0.35%. And the VIX is down over 7%. So it seems like a lot more people are starting to get more bullish after today. The Apple event will be taking place at 8 p.m. tonight. This is the first time in Apple's history they have held an 8 p.m. event the day before Halloween. Scary fast is what they're calling it. I don't know exactly what that is. There's rumors that a new MacBook will be launched. Who knows? It could be on a Apple vehicle. We really have no transparency on that as of lately, and I reported that just a couple of weeks ago. So we really don't know what's in store for this Apple event. Apple is 11% weighting of the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100, probably the most well-known NASDAQ ETF index that, most people buy. It's the QQQ. Apple's a huge weighting in that. Apple typically sells off after these events. So if that happens again today, if that historical trend continues, you could have a red day tomorrow, but I'm not expecting all too much as far as fireworks for the markets, a continued big move higher or big move lower until we get the Fed coming on Wednesday. And then you're going to have Apple earnings on Thursday. Then you're going to have big economic data on Friday, the BLS labor report, which you're going to get the non-farm payroll report, as well as the unemployment rate. And if we take a look at what yields are doing today, 30-year Treasury yields up almost 3 basis points to 5.051%. Your 10-year Treasury yields are up 4 basis points to 4.88%. This is lower than where you were recently at about 5%, but it's not the best thing you want to see. You want to see yields coming down to get this rally to the next stage. It's going to be very hard for stocks to do well and continue to do well when 10-year Treasury yields are around 5%. Your equity risk premium is very low. There's almost no reason to own stocks based on the earnings growth of the S&P compared to a 5% yield of Treasuries. This is causing TLT to sell off 0.63% here today. USO is one of the bigger stories today, down almost 3%. That's great news. I think some of this Middle East conflict is starting to die down. Some of those fears are starting to dissipate. The dollar is flat on the day. You've already risen a lot. You want to see the dollar come down like you've seen, after the Rona crash. It was no surprise why stocks did well. The Fed was giving out liquidity to basically every area of the markets, supporting everything. And as you know, I'm sure, if you're a viewer of this channel, stocks go higher off of liquidity. They don't go higher off of earnings beats. They go higher off of liquidity, as in terms of like the broader markets. Like everything doing well, it's usually during times of liquidity from the Fed, or at least not super restrictive times with the Fed. And then you can see this was the dollar in 2022. It really hurt your multinationals. It hurt a Tesla. It hurt a Netflix. It hurt an Apple, right? Google. Some of your largest companies are multinationals. They take in foreign currency, convert that foreign currency back to US dollars. The higher this chart goes, the less those foreign currencies monies will convert to US dollars. Hopefully that makes some sense. The higher this chart goes, the worse off. So you really want to see a drop in the dollar. That would be good news. But a stabilization of the dollar looks like has already started to happen since the beginning of October. I really think the next move is going to be lower for the dollar as the markets say, hey, the Fed, they're done raising. The next move is a cut. Some fear is really starting to leave the markets today, and you can see this with GLD. This is the ETF for gold. Gold is down almost 0.5% today. You're really just basing out here after this pretty aggressive rise. I believe this rise has been, let's go ahead and chart this out, over a 10% move higher in gold since just the start of October. Today is October 30th. That's a crazy move for gold. So you want to see gold come down. That would be a good development for our markets. It would show you fear is really starting to subside, but the fear, it's not getting worse today. In terms of Tesla stock, at the time of recording this video, Tesla is $198.06 per share, down 4.45% here on the day. You are under your $200 level, so all bets are off the table. Tesla stock, if you retake that $200 level, if you can actually rise from here, that's going to be good. And to some degree, expect that to happen. The RSI is at 25.44. Typically, when Tesla hits 30 on the RSI, you do get a bounce. The only time that has really not happened was a very brief period here, a couple of days during October of 2022 when the markets were hitting their lows, as well as January of 2022. Other than that, you typically bounce around this level, so don't be surprised when that happens. Now, after that bounce, if you do get some more selling, if people do get more fearful, then 180 looks pretty likely. I've said multiple times, 180, 190 is almost a certainty in my mind. 150 is where you really start to get to that sell your kidney moment in terms of you want to buy as many shares of possible in Tesla. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. So do what you guys want to do with your money. But the lowest you could probably fall is around 130, and the markets would be in a really, really rough place at that point. So I wouldn't wait to buy a bunch of shares hoping Tesla goes under 150. Right now is a really good time to be scaling into those positions. So that is going to go ahead and do it for this video. That is everything you need to know on Tesla stock as of right now if you are a Tesla stock investor, as well as the broader markets. So hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time, I send out all of my alerts every time I buy Tesla stock, every time I sell a stock, every time I make a trade, whether it's a YOLO, a passive income trade, whether it's a long-term investment, whether it is a credit spread, debit spread, calendar, iron condor, butterfly, all kinds of different things we are doing over there. Come join us and come try it out. Come be a part of the community. Come grow your knowledge base. If you have questions on trading, on Tesla, on any other stock, option, crypto, real estate, we discuss a little bit of everything over there. So come join us. Thank you for watching. My name is Michael Tyler. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.